Let's talk about the banana. It's that go-to snack, right? Probably the star of your morning smoothie. Maybe you've even got a bunch sitting on your counter as we speak. We all think we know it, but do we really know what's going on inside this super common fruit? Well, let's dive in, because the banana is definitely holding on to a few secrets.
And here's the big paradox. On one side, you hear people call it a happy food, something packed with stuff that can actually lift your spirits. But then, on the other side, you'll hear warnings about its high sugar and carb content. So what's the deal? Is it a friend to your brain, or is it a foe to your blood sugar? We're going to peel back the layers on this one.
And this isn't just some casual debate, you know? It's a real scientific puzzle. This simple fruit, this staple in diets all over the globe, is sitting right at the center of a huge conversation about our mental health and our metabolic health.
And our love for them is absolutely massive. Just to give you an idea, Indonesia was the #1 producer back in 2022. That just shows you how global this fruit is. But with literally billions of them being eaten, the question is still there. Beyond just being easy to grab and eat, what are they really doing for our bodies and our minds?
All right, let's start with the claim that gets everybody talking. The idea that a banana can actually make you happier. Now, I know it might sound like a bit of an old wives' tale, but there's some really fascinating science behind it.
The star of the show here is a little compound called tryptophan. Now, your body can't make this stuff on its own, you have to get it from food. And its biggest claim to fame, it's the essential building block for serotonin. You've probably heard of it as the feel-good chemical that plays a huge role in our mood, our sleep, our general sense of well-being.
So, how does this all work? Well, you can think of it as a 3-step journey. First, easy part, you eat the banana, you get the tryptophan. Then it has to get from your bloodstream into your brain, which is basically an exclusive club protected by this thing called the blood-brain barrier. So think of tryptophan as having a special VIP pass to get in. Once it's inside, your brain's machinery kicks in and converts it into that sweet, sweet serotonin.
But here's the really clever part. It's not just that bananas have tryptophan. Lots of foods do. The real secret is the ratio. See, tryptophan has to compete with all these other amino acids to get that VIP pass into the brain. Because bananas have a higher ratio of tryptophan compared to its competitors, it basically has a better shot at winning the race and getting right where it needs to go.
And bananas are not just a one-trick pony. They're also loaded with other things that support our mental well-being. They've got antioxidants like flavonoids and carotenoids that fight something called oxidative stress, which is a type of cell damage that's been linked to depression. On top of that, they've got anti-inflammatory compounds, which is super important because we now know that chronic inflammation can really mess with your mood.
And listen, this isn't just some wacky idea. It's a subject of serious research all over the world. Scientists everywhere are looking into this. India is actually leading the pack, contributing almost 40% of the studies on this. You've also got Pakistan, Indonesia. It just shows there's this huge global interest in using food to help our mental health.
And get this, what's really wild is that scientists aren't just looking at the part of the banana we eat. They've studied the entire plant, and it turns out the peel is a major hotspot for research. Yeah, the part we throw away. In some cases, the peel is even more packed with these good compounds than the fruit itself.
Okay, so the theory is solid, right? The chemistry totally makes sense. But this is where the story gets a little complicated. When you actually look at the human trials, the results are, well, they're all over the place. Some studies show a drop in anxiety, others only find a really weak link to depression. It's not a slam dunk, which tells us there's probably another piece to this puzzle.
So if it's not just about what's in the banana, what else is going on? Well, while one group of scientists is looking at mood, there's another group looking at bananas with a completely different tool, and they're focused on one thing: sugar.
Let's just put a number on it. A single medium-sized banana has about 15 grams of sugar. Now, for anyone who's watching their blood sugar, like people with diabetes, that number definitely raises a red flag. So how does the body actually deal with that?
To really get this, we need to talk for a sec about the glycemic index, or GI. It's basically a scale from 0 to 100 that tells you how fast a food with carbs is going to make your blood sugar go up. Foods with a low GI, that's 55 or less, are digested slowly, so you get a nice, gentle rise. High GI foods, they do the exact opposite and cause a really fast spike.
And here we are, back at our conflict. How can this one fruit possibly be a mood booster and a big old source of sugar? It feels like a total contradiction. But the answer isn't so much about what the fruit is, it's about when you eat it.
And that brings us to the absolute core of this whole thing:
The ripeness revelation. This is where both sides of the banana paradox, the mood booster and the sugar bomb, finally come together and start to make perfect sense.
Okay, check this out. The difference is huge. A green, unripe banana is kind of firm, a little starchy tasting, and not very sweet, right? That's because it's packed with something called resistant starch, and it's lower in sugar. But as it ripens and turns into that classic yellow banana we all know, enzymes are busy converting that starch into simple sugars. That's what makes it sweeter and softer. They are basically two chemically different foods, which means they have two totally different effects on your body.
So what exactly is this resistant starch? Well, Healthline explains it perfectly. They say it's a type of carb that's, well, resistant to digestion. Instead of breaking down into sugar right away, it travels all the way down to your large intestine, where it acts like food for your good gut bacteria. It basically behaves like fiber, so it doesn't cause that big spike in your blood sugar. So, now that we know all this, we can finally move from confusion to clarity. It's not about whether bananas are good or bad, it's about figuring out which banana is good for you, for what you need right now.
So let's just lay it all out, make it super simple. If your goal is stable, long-lasting energy, and you want to do your gut health a favor, you should probably reach for a banana that's still a little bit green. That resistant starch will give you a slow-release fuel. But if you need a quick burst of energy, say right before a workout, or you just want that classic sweet banana taste, a ripe yellow banana is absolutely your best friend. Those simple sugars are ready to go for your body to use immediately.
So here's the bottom line, the big takeaway. There is no single perfect banana. The best banana is simply the one that matches what your body needs in that moment. The real power is in choosing wisely based on what you're trying to achieve. The whole banana paradox is just a brilliant example of how even the simplest foods we eat every day can have a really complex story. And it kind of leaves us with a pretty fascinating question, doesn't it? What other foods in our kitchen have a hidden complexity just waiting for us to understand them?